The Pima County Sheriff says the family is cleared. I say that's the biggest lie of the century. Imagine an 84-year-old woman, Nancy Guthrie, mother of NBC's legendary Savannah Guthrie, vanishing into the cold desert night from her high-security fortress. The police want you to believe a shadowy ninja did it, but I have obtained leaked forensic data that proves the monster didn't break in. He already had the keys. We are talking about her son-in-law, Tommaso Chioni. Tonight, we strip away the PR-friendly mask of the Guthrie dynasty to reveal a 41-minute black hole where Nancy's pacemaker signal flatlined and a dark Honda SUV was seen idling in the shadows. Was it a kidnapping or a cold-blooded corporate takeover of a human life? Stay tuned, because the evidence we've uncovered from the second light source on that doorbell footage will change everything you think you know. This isn't just a disappearance. It's the ultimate betrayal. And the evidence? It's screaming from inside the house. Nancy Guthrie lived a life of quiet luxury in the Catalina foothills, surrounded by the prestige of her daughter's national fame. But behind the polished Instagram photos and the smiling family dinner portraits, a psychological storm was brewing. This wasn't just a happy home. It was a pressure cooker of resentment and hidden agendas. Nancy was the glue holding the family together. But she was also the gatekeeper of a massive fortune that certain people were desperate to access. Enter Tommaso Chioni. To the public, he was the supportive, loving son-in-law of a media icon. But exclusive insider leaks suggest a much darker reality. Sources close to the family's financial inner circle claim Tommaso was living a double life. While he walked the red carpets and attended high society galas, he was allegedly drowning in a sea of red ink. We are talking about massive high-stakes investment failures, offshore accounts that went dry, and a lifestyle that far outpaced his actual bank account. He wasn't just struggling, he was suffocating under the weight of his own ego. When you are facing a financial cliff, a wealthy 84-year-old mother-in-law with a massive estate stops looking like family and starts looking like a life raft. For months, the tension had been boiling over. We've obtained reports of heated arguments behind closed doors, specifically regarding the Guthrie family trust. The most damning part? The power of attorney. Just 8 months before Nancy vanished, Tommaso was aggressively pushing for legal control over her medical and financial decisions, claiming she was losing her edge. Why the rush? Was Nancy starting to ask where the family funds were disappearing to? Was she about to cut him off? The stage was set for an explosion. And on one fateful Sunday night, the fuse was lit by the very person she trusted to protect her. It was 2:28 a.m. on a night that should have been peaceful. The desert was silent, but Nancy Guthrie's heart was being monitored by a digital witness she didn't even know would betray her killer, her pacemaker. Suddenly, the signal flatlined. Not because her heart stopped, but because the physical distance between her body and her phone became too great, and she was being forcibly moved away from her bedside table. Leaked forensic timestamps reveal a chilling gap that the mainstream media refuses to mention. The security cameras were tampered with at 1:47 a.m. Nancy was taken at 2:28 a.m. That is 41 minutes of pure, unadulterated terror. A professional kidnapper is a ghost, in and out in 3 minutes. You don't hang around an 84-year-old's bedroom for nearly an hour unless you are comfortable. Unless you know the dog won't bark because it knows your scent. Unless you know exactly where the spare key is hidden because you used it last week. While the sheriff talked about a clean scene, independent investigators found the truth. Droplets of blood were found on the porch and the walkway. These weren't from a gun or a knife. They were the result of blunt force trauma. It looks like an amateur's mistake, a panicked grab that led to a fall. Someone wasn't prepared for an 84-year-old woman to fight back. And then there's the car. A dark Honda SUV, matching Tommaso's vehicle, was captured by a neighbor's Ring camera idling with its lights off. We've seen leaked text fragments where Tommaso allegedly told a friend, "The problem is being handled," just hours before the abduction. Was the problem Nancy? Was she standing in the way of a payout so large it was worth risking everything? The sheriff's department stood before the cameras and declared the family cleared. But behind the scenes, the department was in a total meltdown. Sergeant Aaron Cross, a 26-year veteran, went rogue, calling the investigation a ship in crisis. Why? Because the rank-and-file deputies saw the evidence that the higher-ups wanted to bury. They saw the forensic reports that showed someone had used professional-grade bleach in the hallway, but missed the microscopic spray on the baseboards. TikTok sleuths have performed a frame-by-frame analysis of the doorbell fragments that the FBI tried to keep under wraps. In the reflection of the window, you see it. A steady, fixed glow. It isn't a flashlight moving around. It's the blue-white glow of a smartphone screen. Someone was sitting in that Honda SUV, scrolling through a device while the kidnapping was in progress. Was it a co-conspirator? Or was Tommaso simply checking his to-do list? Or perhaps he was checking his bank balance one last time. The scandal is now spreading like wildfire across every platform. #ArrestTommaso is trending globally, with millions of people deconstructing his grieving interviews. Even A-list celebrities are whispering about the Guthrie Protection Program, alleging that the police are too scared to arrest the son-in-law of an NBC superstar. Leaked internal memos suggest that DNA found inside the house is a mixed sample, a perfect forensic shield. And Tommaso's defense is ready. "Of course my DNA is there, I had pasta with her." He's using his status as family to hide his tracks as a predator, and the authorities are letting him get away with it. The internet is a war zone. On one side, mainstream news continues to play the grieving family angle, showing heartbreaking montages of Savannah Guthrie in tears. But on the other side, the digital jury is screaming for justice. They aren't buying the tears. They're looking at the facts. Mainstream media iska zikr kyun nahi kar raha? Is the question echoed in every language across the globe. Fake insider polls show that 85% of the public no longer believes the masked stranger narrative. High-profile true crime YouTubers are deconstructing Tommaso's body language in the few clips we have. That isn't a worried son-in-law, one expert claims. That's a man checking his work, making sure the camera didn't catch his face. The industry backlash is massive. Rumors are swirling that NBC executives are panicking, trying to keep the Tommaso debt stories out of the headlines to protect their own ratings. Supporters are being accused of being paid PR bots, while haters are digging into Tommaso's past, finding a trail of failed businesses, broken promises, and the people who claim he's a master manipulator. The division is fueling a fire that the sheriff can no longer put out with simple press releases. The betrayal of silence is ending, and the public is demanding blood. They want to know why a man with so many red flags was allowed to stay in that house after the primary witness disappeared. Now for the revelation that changes everything. We followed the money, and it led to a black hole, even darker than the 41 minutes in Nancy's bedroom. This wasn't just a kidnapping. It was a corporate takeover of a human life. As long as Nancy is missing but not declared dead, the power of attorney Tommaso secured remains active. He controls the estate. He controls the medical narrative. He controls the millions. Forensic accountants have allegedly discovered a sudden stabilization in Tommaso's accounts just days after Nancy vanished. Was this the first installment of a blood-soaked payout? A black glove was found 2 miles from the scene, tossed into a cactus patch. The DNA doesn't match a stranger. It matches a male relative profile. But here is the most chilling part. There has been zero proof of life. And in 3 weeks, not a single photo, not a single recording, not a single demand that sounds like it came from a real criminal organization. Why? Because Nancy Guthrie likely never left the foothills alive. The kidnapping was a staged event to cover up a domestic accident that went too far. A device familiar to the household was caught by digital forensics searching for how to bypass Nest cameras and Monero crypto tumbling weeks before the crime. The veil is dropping. Tommaso Cioni has nowhere left to hide. He thought he was the smartest man in the room, but he forgot that in 2026, the data never sleeps. He didn't just kidnap his mother-in-law, he attempted to delete her from existence to save his own skin. The evidence is laid bare. The pacemaker, the 41-minute gap, the blood on the porch, and the multi-million-dollar motive. Is Tommaso Cioni a grieving relative or the most cold-blooded actor in Arizona history? He is sitting there at the family table, passing the salt, while the woman who welcomed him into her home is gone. I want to hear from you right now in the comments. Do you believe the power of attorney is the smoking gun? Is Savannah Guthrie being kept in the dark by a master manipulator? Or is she protecting the father of her children to avoid a public scandal? We are reading every single theory, and the most logical ones will be featured in our emergency update. Hit that like button if you want the FBI to take over this case today. Subscribe and turn on all notifications because our next video drops the anonymous recording that will blow this case wide open. We are the digital jury, and we will not stop until Nancy Guthrie is found and the person responsible is in handcuffs. Keep your eyes open. The truth is closer than you think, and it's heartbreaking.